Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is your Jedi Sentinel, and welcome back to Sentinel Reviews. Today we are looking at Doctor Who's 2024 Christmas special, Joy to the World, written by Stephen Moffat. As always, there is a blanket spoiler warning in place because I do these unscripted. If you do not wish to be spoiled, the Doctor Who 2024 Christmas special streams in the UK on BBC iPlayer and Disney Plus in the rest of the world. And overall thoughts to begin with. I don't want to say this was an average episode or a middling episode because I think that has a different connotation, it has a different meaning. I think for me personally, it would be more accurate to say I liked 50% of this episode and I didn't like 50% of this episode. So now, how exactly do I want to approach this? Do I want to start with the stuff I like or do I want to start with the stuff I don't like? I want to be more concise in my reviews. Like, I don't know how much of you are here for the rambling or the tangents. Oh, look, I'm already starting. But it's just, I want to try to get my thoughts across without just doing a recap, which is what I end up doing. Now, for some things, like Big Finish, because not everyone listens to Big Finish or keeps up to date on it, I might still do that. But like Doctor Who in general, or a movie everyone's seen or something, I want to try to avoid that more. So let's get to the elephant in the room. Let's address the big thing, like the biggest problem this episode had for me, and that is the character of Joy. Now, before we begin properly, let me say this. Nicola Coughlan did a decent job. I think she's a fine actress. She gave a good performance. There are scenes that she did really well, like the scene where the doctor manipulates her into getting the starseed off of her wrist. And, really kind of, or we get kind of her driving force, her motivation. Like, the performance is good. It is the material that is the problem. Joy never really feels like a character. She just feels like a bunch of ideas. She feels much more like a plot device that is meant to serve the purpose of the narrative than a fully fleshed out character. This is kind of made worse by the fact that the advertising really made a big selling point of Joy being the companion for this episode, because this episode also kind of, depending on how you want to read into it, has two other, let's just call them pseudo companions, that really work much better, Trev and Anita. But Joy is the one who is kind of the focus of this episode, and she is the weakest aspect of it. I think part of the problem is the episode doesn't really give any time to her, which, like I said, sort of when the third act begins, we get that whole exposition about what her motivation is, why she is the way she is. And it's just, it feels, because there are, how do I want to say this? Like, actually, I think I just said it properly. No time is really given to Joy and the Doctor. Like, a huge chunk of the second act is the Doctor by himself in one of the best sequences, in the best sequence in the episode. And then when he figures it out, he has to go find Joy again. He has to go he meets up with Joy. There we go. That's what I wanted to say. I swear I can speak. He has to go and find her again. When really the episode would have benefited from them spending that time together. Like, the Doctor meets Joy in the first act, and then he's alone for the second act, and they reunite in the third act. No time is really given to them together, which is a major problem. And someone else pointed this out, and thinking more about it, it's like, yeah, that's a bit of an issue. So when we get to the end of the episode and Joy absorbs the star seed, like, she realizes what's going to happen, so she takes it upon herself. And then you start thinking about everything we know about Joy. She's going to a hotel. She is alone. She is still devastated and depressed by the loss of her mother. They bring up a point that she is single. And, there's this big thing in her big breakdown scene where she says she goes to a hotel every year for Christmas because she can't face being home. Like, all of this here, let me put it this way. Joy is a sacrificial lamb. Like, she is designed by this story to be sacrificed, which is why I think a lot of the dialogue and the characterization emphasizes how miserable Joy is. To make it seem like what she is doing is the better option. If I'm being honest, it's a little bit gross. And like, think Astrid from Voyage of the Damned. Throughout the episode, working with the doctor, she starts planning this future for herself. She has her whole life ahead of her. She knows what she's going to do and she's looking forward to it. But when she realizes what's happening, she sacrifices herself to stop it. She had this whole new world of possibilities to look forward to, and she gave it up for the greater good. Comparatively, Joy has nothing. Like the story is setting up that the sacrifice she makes is the best thing she could possibly do. Yeah, like I said, a lot of this story falls apart with Joy, and a lot of it is where I don't like this episode. Like I said, there could have been things to help improvement, like giving Joy and the Doctor more time, or further fleshing Joy out as a character and not just being a collection of ideas. But beyond that, let's talk about what I did like. The Time Hotel. It's a fantastic concept. It's fun. It's very Douglas Adams the more I think about it. Like I said in some Discord chats I was in, I kind of summed this episode up as Joy to the World. Stephen Moffat tries to be Douglas Adams. And I think, thinking about it now, that's not how the episode plays out, but the concept of the Time Hotel specifically is. I have kind of postulated this as well. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Russell T Davies has talked about doing spin-offs again, and of course there is also Big Finish. I could get behind a Time Hotel spin-off, like have the main cast be Anita and members of the staff, but almost have it be an anthology, like focusing on a different guest, going on a different journey in a different room and have you. Like have it sort of be a loose anthology, kind of like The Love Boat or Fantasy Hotel. That is something I could get behind. Let's see, the Time Hotel, just the concept alone, that was really good. I'm struggling to go through everything. This episode kind of focuses on the lonely side of Christmas. Like the Doctor is just coming off Empire of Death, having said goodbye to Ruby, so he's alone again, and we have what's going on with Joy. This episode is kind of a statement on the loneliness of Christmas and why, you should really reach out and, to the people who love you, to the people you love, and just, talk to them or something. And I think there is a good focus on that. It's not a really big part of the episode. It's not that strong and, could have been better focused. But this episode is doing a lot now that I think about it. And it doesn't all work. I talked about Trev, who is a fun character, and unlike Joy, his death actually has weight. The actor has good chemistry with Gatwa. He's really fun, and you feel when he dies. I also thought Murray Gold gave a decent score. I think I've talked in the past about how much I don't like Murray Gold. He started off strong, but then as he kept going, especially in the Moffat era, he just became too much. Like I said, Murray Gold's orchestrations, his score, were often the equivalent of someone grabbing you by the collar, whoops, bumped into my mic, shaking you and screaming, "Feel something, damn it!" And, that's why I preferred the more subtle nuances of Sega Nakanola during the Chibnall era. But here, I like his score. I especially like his last two tracks towards the end of the episode, because they deliver on the emotionality. They help enhance it without being bombastic or forceful. So that was something I really appreciated. I'm kind of building up to the big thing about this episode I really liked. Let's talk about one more thing I didn't like. The Starseed itself. Ultimately, the resolution, the way they figure it out, doesn't feel fully formed. It feels half baked, because we learned that the Starseed was formed by Vilengard, the corporation that ran the ambulances and had that whole thing going on in Boom. I have seen people speculate that because this is its second appearance, Vilengard might be a big bad in the upcoming season, or might be tied to the boss, because that the Meep mentioned back in the Star Beast, because now it's essentially kind of been confirmed that the one who waits, Sutek, and the boss were not the same character. I don't think that's going to happen because, for one thing, Vilengard has only showed up in Moffat episodes. So, like, if Vilengard was going to be a thing, I think Davies would be doing more with it. Like, here's the thing, when it comes to series arc stuff, Davies isn't good at it, but he's not subtle. And if Vilengard was going to be a thing, I feel like it's been too subtle. The other thing with that I think is not going to, why it's not going to be a thing, Vilengard has been a thing since the Eccleston era. It first showed up, was mentioned, in The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. I think Vilengard, whenever it shows up, is just Moffat ranting about capitalism, which I'm always here for. Capitalism is a major problem. Hi, I'm an American. Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't think Vilengard is going to build up to anything. There's also been, I've seen this being talked about a lot, that people are saying Davies is recycling ideas, and some of it, okay, I can kind of see the similarities. Some of it is really stretching, like the similarities between Rose and Ruby, young blonde woman from modern day Earth whose name is synonymous with the color red. That one really feels like a stretch. And they're saying Anita might become a companion similar to the Runaway Bride. I honestly don't see that happening, and if I'm being really honest, if Anita does become a companion, I will be kind of mad. Like, don't get me wrong. Again, the montage with Anita, the Doctor spending a year having to go the long way around so he can get back into the time hotel, that is the best part of the episode. But also, Anita's story ends so perfectly. When she is given the offer to work at the time hotel, and the Doctor gives her the card for Auld Lang Syne. So, like, just to bring Anita back and to be a companion, that would infuriate me. Especially because I feel like the entire segment with Anita and the way it ends, really ends a plot point with New Who that I have never really liked. So the fact we're kind of addressing it and hopefully ending it, that's a good thing. This whole, the Doctor doesn't like to say goodbye thing. Which, again, if you go, like, New Who always makes a big deal out of this. The Doctor can't handle saying goodbye. The Doctor hates doing it. Yeah, but the Doctor still does it. Like, go back to the first ever companion exit story, the Dalek invasion of Earth. He is the one who decides. Susan doesn't decide to leave. He is the one who decides Susan should leave. And on top of that, he is the one who says goodbye. I just, again, the New Who plot concept of the Doctor hates to say goodbye. It's something I hate, and I hope the Anita segment ended it beautifully. Which also kind of spirals. Oh, wow, I was going on a completely different tangent, I just remembered. So, because I started this whole thing, talking about the Starseed, and then I got into Vilengard and the speculation that it was going to be a bigger thing, and then the speculation that Davies was recycling his earlier era. So let me finish this thought that I initially started with. The resolution over the Starseed feels completely half-baked. It does not feel fully formed. So, like, the Starseed is a weapon made by Vilengard, and then Joy absorbs it, and then she has that whole scene with the Doctor before she goes into space and detonates and becomes a star. Sorry, something just fell down. And it just, when somehow along the way, the Starseed changed from becoming a weapon to just becoming a star. And when the Doctor tries to talk to Joy about it, she says Valengard doesn't matter anymore. I feel like we're missing something. Like, there should have been a development somewhere in this that we, as the audience, just never got. And that ultimately brings me to the highlight of this episode, Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor. I will say, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the 15th Doctor yet. Gatwa is an amazing actor, and he has been giving some stellar performances, but I will say, as far as writing goes, in just 2 episodes, Stephen Moffat has handled 15 the best. Like, I think the big thing for me is that 15 is just so high energy. He is running all the time. He never stops. He never slows down. He's just point A to point B, zip, 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 zip. And in both Moffat's episodes, Boom and Joy to the World, Moffat actually stops the Doctor. He slows him down, and we get to see this more contemplative side of him. You know, we get to really see his gears turning, what makes him click, what he thinks about. It's moments, you know, he just gives him moments to breathe, and that's really something 15 needed, and Moffat surprisingly delivers on better than Davies does. Like, now, Boom I thought was just kind of an average episode, and, you know, I'm talking about my issues with Joy to the World, but I really think Moffat has a better handle on 15 than Davies does. And it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I remember seeing an interview that Moffat said, oh, after this Christmas special, I'm done with Doctor Who. I'm not coming back. I had fun. I'm going to take off now. And then I seem to remember, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I seem to remember that I think Moffat might have backtracked recently, that he might actually come back. We'll see what happens. I am excited because it does seem like we are going to get some new writers for season 15, series 15, season 2. So I am looking forward to that. But yeah, Joy to the World. Like I said, I summed it up perfectly at the start. I liked half of it. I didn't like half of it. Gatwa once again gives a fantastic performance that gives I think audiences one of the best grasps on the 15th Doctor as the character. His companion for this episode leaves a lot to be desired. But those are just my thoughts. Have you seen Joy to the World? What are your thoughts? Please start a conversation in the comments below, and remember to like, comment, subscribe. Click the bell next to subscribe to get notifications when I upload, and in the description box below, you will find the link to my Bluesky where you can follow me and get updates on the channel. This is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and I'll see you guys next time.